Welcome, everyone, to our discussion on the challenges and pathways in a sexless marriage. We're diving into a really important topic today.
Absolutely. There's so much to unpack when it comes to intimacy and how couples can reignite that spark.
Right. So, the conversation we're having is centered around the scenario many couples face: long-term relationships where the sexual aspect has dwindled, sometimes to the point of no sex at all. It's not just about the absence of physical intimacy, but how it affects the overall connection.
Totally. And it's interesting because it's not a failure on one's part. It's a very common issue, especially in relationships that have spanned decades.
Exactly. For instance, you have couples like Norm and Sherry, who hadn't shared an intimate moment in over 20 years yet, were desperate to change that dynamic. They made the commitment to find ways to reconnect.
Their story is a powerful reminder that many couples experience a decline in physical desire over time, and that struggle is normal if you've been together a long while.
Right. And the way it's framed is interesting. It's about re-engaging that sensual side through not just sex, but what Dr. Cheryl Fraser calls the passion triangle, which includes intimacy, thrill, and sensuality. Each plays a crucial role in reviving that connection.
Yes. I find it fascinating that while intimacy and thrill can sometimes be patched up within friendships or even family relationships, sensuality is unique because it's the element involving our physical, naked expressions of love.
Absolutely. It's like, think about it. Our friendships may give us trust and emotional support, but only a romantic partner can offer that element of nudity and physical vulnerability.
Right. And speaking of vulnerability, the advice here is to lovingly talk about the sex you're not having. That's a delicate conversation to have, isn't it?
Oh, totally. I mean, sex is a loaded topic, so approaching it with non-judgmental listening and honest communication is key.
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
easing into a tough conversation by first practicing your communication skills on other challenging topics.
I'm with you on that. And then there's the idea of mapping out steps from having no sex to rekindling sensual intimacy. That's a gradual process, right?
Yes, exactly. Rather than making a giant leap right into sex, the model suggests starting small, like cuddling with clothes on, then progressing to kissing, or even taking a sensual bath together.
Right.
These tiny, incremental steps really help to build back that comfort and trust.
It reminds me of slowly turning up the volume on a radio rather than blasting it on full. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like, you're guiding your partner gently back into a space of intimacy, and that approach makes a big difference because it's less intimidating and more, sustainable.
I agree. But one thing I notice is that sometimes couples might dismiss the value of scheduled sensual dates. I mean, isn't love supposed to be spontaneous?
That's a great point. It seems a bit, counterintuitive at first. However, when desire becomes elusive, scheduling time for sensual moments can create the right environment.
Absolutely.
It's about committing to making your sensual life a priority, even when spontaneous passion might not be occurring.
Yeah, I can see that. It's kind of like setting aside time to nurture a garden. If you neglect it, eventually everything wilts.
Exactly. It's that nurturing process. The strategy is not just about forcing sex, but about gently reintroducing that spark. And here's another interesting aspect: the notion that if you're in a sexless situation, you might need to reestablish intimacy in other areas first, like enhancing your emotional connection and shared experiences in everyday life.
Yeah, totally. I guess the challenge here is balancing the need to improve all three angles of the passion triangle while still addressing urgent physical disconnection.
Right. And that's where the criticism often comes in. Some argue that focusing on sensuality alone is a bit isolated. I mean, if you don't have intimacy and thrill, just fixing sex might not solve all your problems.
Yeah, I can see that argument.
Dr. Fraser's model underscores that all three components need attention, which is a thoughtful approach.
That's a really holistic view. If one component is missing, the entire relationship can suffer.
Absolutely. And that's why the approach is multifactorial. Even if you're not fully in the mood at first, scheduling dates and setting the stage can help rebuild that foundation.
Right. And speaking of setting the stage, it's almost like the transformation is not just physical, but emotional and mental too.
Yes, you're spot on. The whole idea is to create an environment that gradually lights up emotional connection, builds a deeper friendship, and then naturally opens up space for physical, sensual intimacy.
I love that analogy. Like layering a cake with different flavors where every layer supports the next.
Exactly. It's like each layer enhances the overall taste of the relationship. And then you have stories like Karen and Howard, a couple on the brink of divorce because of these issues. When they worked on their communication and improved their intimacy and thrill, they eventually rekindled their passion.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. It really demonstrates that while the road back to intimacy can be rocky, there's real hope if both partners put in the effort.
Indeed. And it's a process that requires vulnerability, dedication, and, some humor along the way. Like those couples who share playful moments, even walking around the house naked and playfully slapping each other on the bottom, it's both humorous and
Exactly.
therapeutic.
I think that playful element is often overlooked. It's crucial to not take everything too seriously.
Right. A little bit of levity can make a huge difference. And, another tip is to reevaluate the sexual routine. Sometimes what once felt exciting can start to feel, well, routine. That's when couples might benefit from rethinking their intimate encounters, making them more creative, more, joyful, and more spontaneous.
There's really no one-size-fits-all solution, is there?
Not at all. Every couple's journey is unique. What works for one pair might not work for another, but the underlying principles remain the same. Effective communication, warm emotional connection, and a willingness to try new things.
Absolutely. I appreciate how the discussion emphasizes that it's not just about sex in isolation. It ties into the overall health of the relationship.
Exactly. It's about the bigger picture. Even if you're currently in a sexless marriage, it doesn't mean the relationship is doomed. It's about rediscovery and creating a new, shared vision of intimacy that combines all parts of the passion triangle.
And that holistic approach is what really resonates with couples because it acknowledges that sexual desire is intertwined with other aspects of love, like caring communication and shared fun.
Right? And this is where Dr. Fraser's work and the programs she offers really shine. It's not a magic fix, but it can provide tools like practicing non-judgmental listening and scheduling sensual dates, which serve as stepping stones toward restoring that physical connection.
Yeah, definitely. However, one critique that sometimes comes up is the pressure of scheduling dates. Some folks might feel that it makes romance feel, chore-like rather than natural.
That's a valid concern. It might seem mechanical, but think of it as setting aside priority time for intimacy. Just like any important aspect of life, giving it structured attention can lead to more genuine, spontaneous moments later on.
Exactly. True, because in a busy life, these moments can easily be lost.
Yes, life gets hectic, and without intentional effort, even a strong relationship can start to miss that spark of sensuality. It's like the small, everyday rituals that nourish a deep connection.
And humor is essential too. Embracing the playful side of intimacy, like sharing silly, fun moments, can break the ice when discussions feel heavy.
Definitely. And it's also about recognizing progress even if it seems small, cuddling a bit longer, exchanging a kiss, or even just laughing together during a tough conversation. These are all victories that contribute to reviving the sensual connection.
Yeah, exactly. It all boils down to a willingness to be vulnerable and creative together.
Absolutely. In the end, nurturing your sensual life means actively creating a safe and loving environment to explore, express, and revive that deep, physical connection. Whether it's talking honestly about what's missing, taking incremental steps, or scheduling sensual moments, every little effort counts.
Yeah, very true. This has been an enlightening discussion. There's so much depth and warmth in the strategies suggested for overcoming a sexless marriage.
Indeed, and let it remind all couples out there that while it's a challenge, it's also an opportunity. An opportunity to grow closer, deepen your connection, and ultimately bring back that passion.
Absolutely. Thanks for this insightful chat. Here's to taking those loving little steps toward rediscovering intimacy.
Here to love life and renewed passion.